Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Isotopic Chats for today. It's June 11th, if you can believe it. We've been doing these chats now for over 6 years. We started in May of 2020 in the middle of the pandemic, and we're all wearing our masks. A lot of people even wearing masks when they were all by themselves. Today, we're still meeting, and we're having a chat on chats. And I'm sure this slide is a little bit more than you can handle, so I'm going to move to the next one. Um, the big idea is to talk about what we've been doing since we've started. Let's see. I'd like to talk a little bit about statistics. So we started in May of 2020. Since we started, we've had 24,117 lifetime registrations, and that's through last week. I do keep a track of all those just for the sake of keeping track of things, because we are data nerds after all. That's with duplication. So if you look at the unduplicated number, it's approximate because I haven't counted how many times Becky Garrow has registered under different emails. She's probably got about 10 or 15 different ones. Anyway, the number that's in my data is about 1450. So I took about 100 off because a lot of people change jobs and they're the same person, but they have different emails in our system. So I took about 100 off. So about 1350. It means 1,350 people approximately have joined us or registered at some point in time. Our average registration this year, and it's gone up over the years. I have another table for it, but it didn't prepare it. Our average registration for each session this year is 128. And that's kind of an inflated number because people register and then you can click all the boxes going down. And that's super cool. And so they get reminders and they show up. And I think it is a good way to encourage attendance. But the actual attendance, if we take the average actual attendance across all our sessions, we have bigger ones, we have smaller ones. I mean, our biggest one this year was our subcontractor fair. But overall, the average is about 46, which I think is pretty impressive. I don't know if you have been to the AEA conference, but 46 feels like a big room a lot of times. I mean, you certainly get bigger ones, but I mean, in many ways, we have a conference registration every week. If you look who's registered the most, Ann Price has registered the most since 2020. I started counting who actually attended, who showed up, and I can't go any further back than July 2022, and Jessica Metcalf is here. So I feel like I should hand out like virtual awards to each of you guys, but thanks for showing up and attending and supporting throughout all the years. And Jessica was actually there on the very first day, the very first session, which I think is exciting. Go to the next one. All right. So in the survey that I sent, you can see in the chat, Emily, you might want to repost that link just in case people have showed up since I posted that survey. You can see the public report, which it's got this graphic, but I did some other graphics too. You can see that we had 40 respondents. 40 of you guys responded. Thank you for that. 36 of you are from living in the United States, 3 from Canada, and 1 from outside of the US and Canada. I loved this distribution of how many years you've operated as an independent consultant. On the far left, you see we've got people who have not yet started. And on the far right, you see people who've been doing this for 20 or more years. And there's 14 people to the right of the 5 to 9 years, and there's 15 people to the left. And I didn't take the survey. So in many ways, this is a perfect distribution of people, with the median being 10 people said they have been in operation for 5 to 9 years. So that's how you know who is participating, or at least who's coming and talking to us. 29 of you are full-time. This is your job. This is what you do. Where there's 4 who are part-time and they do other things, or 3 who are kind of trying to get started. And that was probably the 3 that were not started in the previous question. Then I asked the question, why would you show up to these things? It's nice for me to know. A lot of you say you'll see these were actually questions that were Likert scale questions. And so you agreed with all of the things, which in many ways didn't surprise me. I think this is my sense, but you see that you're attending for practical business operations management. You like the ideas of the core topics. I mean, I think the question was, do you appreciate the core topics? And we saw some more just agrees. Nobody's anti core topic, but I mean, in many ways, it's the same topic every year, but it's good for new folks who haven't heard them before. You appreciate the participant-led presentations and the panel discussions. And you've said that this provides significant value to AEA membership, which is kind of the idea, but also the independent nature of it all. We affiliate with it, but if AEA went away, we wouldn't stop. How have the chats supported you? You agreed or supported these ideas that the chats create feelings of help you with your professional isolation, helps build professional relationships among the group. This shouldn't come as a surprise to you if you're showing up a lot. They are an essential community of practice for you, and I wouldn't say it's definitely supported, but it wasn't like off the charts supported. Connecting with peers for collaborative bidding, meaning you go in together to create opportunities to create new work. Maybe some of you guys aren't looking for that, or maybe you haven't found that. So it's only my interpretation on what I read in the comments and other things like that. What are the things that you value? And so you wrote that you appreciate the session. So you agreed, we had nearly 100%. What are the percentages of people who are agreeing with these things? You appreciate that the sessions are free. I mean, who wouldn't? I think there's actually one or two people who were like not strong on that. And I think I've had conversations with people who said, maybe we should be creating a charge for this, which is not what I intend to do or would like to do. You like the idea of the consistent Thursday schedule. Oh, quick aside. The reason we do them at Thursday at 11 a.m., Jessica Metcalf can tell you this because she was part of it. Originally, back in 2020, I was doing a AEAE study, and this is the time that we met. And we did it over several weeks. And then we got to the end. It was a terrible interface. It was like a pre-Zoom interface, and I was talking to a camera, and there was no interaction. We could not, and this is the word where the word chat came from. We couldn't chat. We couldn't talk. We didn't engage. It was just me talking to a little computer screen. And I said, let's just keep going, and let's just keep talking this through. And I'll represent all the material and see where we go from there. And that was where we were in May of 2020, and we just started it at that exact same time that we'd already been meeting. And here we are, 6 years later. And then there was a strong support for the YouTube recordings, and that you could watch them at your own time and asynchronously engage with it. I've talked to a number of people, and it kind of baffles me a little bit, but I guess it's great because it's the point of people driving long distances and just listening to these. I go, I don't know. I think I'd either fall asleep or something else. But anyway. All right. Then this is the question I really wanted to get to was what more can we do? And so I put 3 ideas down, which was, and these were just off the top of my head at the time. One that we are working on and we have worked on, and we do, but I think I'd like to spend more time on it. I'd like to put our student research assistant to do more and more with this, but a searchable community consultant directory. The complications here are we don't necessarily want to interfere with or override what the Find My Evaluator or Find an Evaluator tool that AEA has. But I think there's something that's not that we could use. Maybe it's just internal for our own community, because I think oftentimes we are looking for somebody who can help us out with, I don't know, I find myself getting a little bit in over my head with can't say it, complicated data, not qualitative data. Anyway, you get it. But a shared community repository of business templates, like if people want to volunteer their contracts or MOUs, these are things that I've shared too. Very, very high interest in that. And I also put up that idea of informal, in-person regional meetings. There was moderate ideas, feelings for that, but I think definitely, I have this big idea of going on tour. That's what I say, going on tour. Kristen wants to do that too, my partner, and getting people together when we show up in Boston or Minneapolis or Miami or Dallas. There's a lot of people asking me to come to Dallas lately. So if you're in Dallas, and I find myself in San Antonio a lot, so I end up seeing Kurt there and others. All right. Then we let you guys answer some questions. What's the single most valuable takeaway? And I appreciated the people who say I can't narrow it down to one. So that was super nice. Um, let's see here. So the main thing that we heard, a big theme was there's a solidarity or anti-isolation piece, and maybe that might have been um, informed from the previous question. Does this help you with isolation? So that didn't necessarily surprise me because I might have prompted that response by the previous question. The fact that there's tactical business operation skills, things that were, that's the whole point. With the AEA conferences in the years past, back 2010s, a lot of independent consulting TIG sessions were sessions about evaluation just done by independent IC TIG folks. And it wasn't about, the whole idea of starting a business. So we would have one or two or three sessions, but back then we'd have like 20 sessions, and a lot of them were not even related to the IC TIG things, so the whole idea of starting a business. And that's one of the big drivers was for me. I wanted to hear more about people starting businesses and all those tactical things. So the fact that you guys all wrote that was, confirming for me. And then this idea of subcontracting, that, there's a takeaway that you can connect with other people that can help you or you can help, and you can create kind of like this business formation piece. How can we better support you? So one, and I think it comes back to some people answered this from the perspective of what can we do internally to these sessions? And so small group breakout was a repeated theme I saw across a lot of different responses. Other things, talking about doing segregated sessions around stage of business. Am I in the early years? So I was actually putting together a panel earlier today with people who are in their first year. But so those conversations of maybe I should be talking with people who are in their 5 to 9 or the 20 plus years. So is there a way to do some segregation there? And then creating some more resources or resource hubs, like that was probably also prompted from the previous question, to have templates and things like that. So that's something I think we will do, and we've started. All right. So 5.5 topic takeaways. Here's an interesting thing. This is where we're going to go. So we should do small groups, and then because this is meta, we get to decide afterwards what's 4, 5, and 5.5. So I'm going to stop the presentation here and stop the recording. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide you guys into small groups. And what I'd want you to do is spend some time talking about what are some more things that we can do. I will say, and I appreciated this, I didn't put this up in the slide. There's a lot of nice things that if I ever need to stroke my ego, I'll put out a survey about the isotopic chats. That was not the intent here, but thank you for all the nice comments. And there were also comments that people put out about, we need to make sure the isotopic chats continue and Matt doesn't get burned out, or Matt and Emily don't get burned out. So I'm not burned out. And as a reflection on that, if there are things that you want to do, if you want to try and plug into the isotopic chats, great. We can find a way to do something there, whether it be any of these things we've already talked about. If you want to create something completely on your own that kind of has nice connection to what we do or connection to the TIG, I think that was the big idea behind the chats to begin with. I could certainly talk to you about that as well. All right, so I am going to stop this session recording. So if you're out in YouTube land, we'll see y'all later. If you're live, stick around.